Well, so let's start this bulletin from the Labour Front, as scores of people seeking government services have been left stranded at the civil and local government staff withdrew their services, I beg your pardon, across the country. Now, key amongst their concerns is government's failure to pay their neutrality allowance. Now, CLOGSAG, in a memo to its members, said it's actually reactivating its January strike, which it suspended to make way for negotiations with governments in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi as well. Government institutions are empty, as we're learning. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku has the rest of the story.
Essie travelled from home to make enquiries at the Social Welfare Department, only to be told the office has been closed due to the industrial action.
It's a bit dicey, so we need to stop whatever we are doing and just go back to where we're coming from. If you basically have to travel from a very far distance to make an inquiry and you get here and you can't be attended to, you've wasted whatever money you had on you.
Members of CLOGSAG are clamoring for their 20% neutrality allowance. The allowance is to compensate members to abstain from active politics.
So as you can see, the doors of some offices have been locked, and in an earlier engagement with the regional chairman for CLOGSAG, Mr. Alexander Obi, he indicated that a task force will be deployed to ensure all members imbibe or comply with this directive.
CLOGSAG embarked on strike about 2 months ago. The same day the strike was called off, there's on condition that our grievances will be fulfilled. So the government signed MOU with us, that the CLOGSAG, and there was one provision in our condition of service known as neutrality allowance. That's the allowance the government decided to give to CLOGSAG members for bearing us from active politics. So when we call off strike, we thought the government would pay it within February. February has passed, no show. April, no show. March, April, no show. So yesterday we had a meeting with the NEC, our highest decision body after Congress, and from what our executive was saying, government has no plans of paying the neutrality allowance any moment from now. So we had no other option to resume the strike. Yes, so that's why we call our members to reactivate the strike. So for now or today, all the CLOGSAG members are to stay home, not going back to the workplaces. We are on strike.
For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
Well, here in Accra as well, Michael Papani Chalet interacted with some stranded customers at the Registrar General's Department.
At the end of this strike are people innocent Ghanaians who are here to do business, but are disappointed, have had to be turned away, wasted their time after hearing that the people they are here to meet are on strike. I have a few people who are here who speak to me and tell us how this really affects some of them. Some of them are here to do business. I'll talk to some of them. So, Chief, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I mean, what were you here to do?
We're here to register a business, register some business, yes.
And when you went there, what were you told?
Actually, there's a man at the gate door, and he told us that, they are on strike now, so we should go back. I asked him when he started. He said yesterday evening. And so he told me that, we asked him when it's going to end, and he said it's till further notice. So,
as a business owner, how does this make you feel?
It's rather unfortunate and sad because we have to register a business, and then being turned away, it's bad. It's bad for us. Coming all the way from where we came from, then come here, it's bad for us. So.
Let me ask the lady here. What were you here to do?
I also came to transact a business.
Okay. What business specifically? Marriage or business? Maybe to register your business?
I can't talk about that.
Okay, that's fine. But I mean, coming to meet this notice that we are not working, we're on strike, how does that make you feel?
It's so uncalled for. I don't know, but it's very bad. It's very bad. It's very bad. It's really bad. We were told, as he said, we were told that it started yesterday evening, and I don't know. They should come back. They should come back.
Do you feel more disappointed that you are not informed about the strike?
I am very disappointed. Very, very disappointed.
Mostly these strikes, they already give us, say, a head notice before. But just for you to waste your money and come here and then they've been told that they're on strike, like, you haven't nothing to do, John, but just to go back. So we would have wished that they could have given us prior notice for us to know so that we could have planned the day well.
Off the top of my head, if I recall, this should be about the second time we are having a strike. And for people who have to come here, this is going to be difficult for you. I mean, what do you think about strikes, especially from civil servants?
Okay, I don't know what is in, but I'm working at an auditing firm. So like, we have clients who are depending on us to finish the work and finish this statutory requirement. And if you come, the strike, because I've already sold my time, and then like my client already has something, like say expecting results, and then I go back to him and tell him that, okay, this is what is happening. I realize that it slows down business. It slows down. So I don't know, but whatever it's happening, they should resolve it as quick as possible to help us stakeholders.
I believe you were here to register something or transact business.
Yes.
What were you told?
I was told they're on strike. They're not working. Wow. So I don't know what to say.
What were you coming to do here?
Actually, I was coming to file my returns and then to do a re-registration. Yes, and I'm coming all the way from Tamale.
So what are you going to do now? All the way from Tamale?
I don't know. I don't know when the strike is going to end. And so I have to go back.
Well, it seems the government cannot use the Ukraine and Russian war as an excuse not to meet their demands. At least this is what the Trades Union Congress feels. According to the TUC, challenges of unemployment and poor conditions of service existed before the war began. Here's the General Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yauban, detailing their concerns, as they also threaten to withdraw if government fails to increase their minimum wage.
The job crisis, predates, Ukraine. The job crisis came before COVID. Therefore, we think that it is not right to blame COVID and Ukraine for every job crisis that we have in this country. That is not right. And we are not going to accept that. The Trade Union Congress, which is leading organized labor, is very cautious, and we always are biased towards dialogue. We hardly want to strike because strike is a very difficult thing to do. It's like war. So before we declare war on the employers, we have to make sure we have good reason. This time, we have the good reason to do it. Therefore, we caution that the employers must listen to us. And they should not just listen, they should also hear us, because the workers of this country are suffering too much, and we should not allow it to continue. Those who are in charge of this country must know that without workers, this country cannot progress. We have the National Tripartite Committee. The National Tripartite Committee has started the process towards determining the minimum wage for this year. For us, that is a do and die. We are going to make sure that minimum wage for workers for this year should not be below inflation. And this will be extended to public sector workers as well. So there's a battle ahead of us. And I can see organized labor is ready to fight. And we are going to do that.
Well, so we've been sampling your opinions about the CLOGSAG strike and their demand for a neutrality allowance. So we asked the question, what should government do? Pay it, scrap it, or is it the case that you're indifferent about this? And many of you have been reacting to that. You see the outcome there. CLOGSAG withdraws its services nationwide over government's failure to pay neutrality allowances. What should government do? And majority of you, 48%, say, well, government would have to pay. Those of you who are against it, 40.2%. And then many of you, quite a number of you actually, are indifferent about it, 11.8%. So that's the outcome of the poll that we put out there. And many of you as well have been trying to find out what government is doing about it on other portals of our social media handles. And then, but for now, this is for the online poll. CLOGSAG withdraws its services nationwide over government's failure to pay neutrality allowances. So that's the outcome of the poll. Majority of you want government to do something about it and to make sure that they advance the payments. Well, so let's... So the General Secretary of TABLE is joining us now. Thank you, sir, for your time. First of all, let's understand the grand concerns that are happening, not just within CLOGSAG, but also within organized labor as well. It appears that there are numerous challenges. You want government to address them immediately. What are some of the key issues and what are the concerns that you want government to move in and deal with?
Yeah, please, first of all, my name is Charles Kofiose. I'm the Deputy General Secretary for Teachers and Educational Workers.
Yes, yes, Charles, exactly why I'm asking about your concerns. Obviously, you were in that interaction today. What are the key concerns of your group?
Yeah, the main key concern that was discussed concerning our jobs, and as well as the jobs, our income that is associated with it, and the need to protect our jobs, and the economic situation in general.
Well, Charles, I'm trying to find out exactly how you want government to address this and how soon you want these concerns to be addressed.
It is an undeniable fact that the economic situation that we find ourselves is just unbearable, not for workers alone, but for the general Ghanaian public. And you and I know that the way prices of goods and services keep on increasing at an increasing rate. Today, you go to the open market to buy a particular item or services for that matter, and the price keeps changing. And our incomes are just also remaining very stable and eroding our disposable income, which is a difficult situation for staff, for workers in general. And that's what we want government to look at it. And government should show leadership in this regard, in making sure that this issue are really addressed by all. And we want to show government leading in this direction.
But just earlier on, you were talking about the economic conditions where we find ourselves. Are you mindful of that as well, the fact that that may restrict government's ability to immediately deal with your concerns?
No, come again, man.
Yes, are you mindful of that, of the situation where we find ourselves as a country and the fact that government may be restricted in that regard?
You see, to be very honest, even as you speak to me, you and I know that the situation is just unbearable. It is high time that government will open up so that we'll sit at round table discussion and cross-fertilize ideas together. And this is what we want government to do. We don't want government to do A, B, C, D, and acting S, D, X, Y, Z.
All right,
that is exactly what we are saying.
Right. So we'll wait and see what then government will have to do about this. Charles Kofiose, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. We're grateful.